Hi, guys. Okay, so what do you do when you're manifesting in some unfavorable circumstances? I'm going to tell you exactly what I do and what I teach all my other clients to do, and really how to start shifting the reality to start getting what you want. So stay tuned. Hey everyone, my name is Kim Velez. I am a former trauma therapist and now turned life coach, manifestation coach, transformation coach, all of the above. And I get to do what I love best, which is watch you all transform and love yourselves and, oh my gosh, manifest in the best circumstances ever. But sometimes we will manifest in circumstances that are not what we actually desire. So we have to remember, right, that all things are neutral. Every event is neutral. And what happens is the human being person looks at the event and then they filter and attach a meaning to that event based off their beliefs and their assumptions. But when we look at circumstances, it's again, and listen, I've been there, I totally get it. And I'm human and I'm not perfect with this stuff either. No human is, but it's really understanding how to do the inner work to keep mastering. So if you're feeling triggered, right, that's about you, baby. That's not about what's going on outside of you. It's about you. What's happening to you internally that's making you think, feel, and believe certain things that do not feel good for you, that are creating a negative dissonance within you, and you feel dysregulated, and whatever the state of being that you're in from that falsy narrative is causing you to feel and be in, right? So that's all you. That's not what's happening outside of you, because you could have 100 people lined up and they witness the same event, and everybody could have a different meaning and perception of what it means, a whole different reaction. So you get to decide what's the reaction you want to give things. And I know when you're reprogramming the self concept, until you believe more new stories about you, new beliefs about you, your natural inclination, your natural assumptions, and your natural meanings that you'll probably attach are most likely going to be the old story, the old self concept, the worst case scenario. So, this is where, as a conscious creator, you're consciously aware. Oh, let me choose the meaning, right? Even if I first thought this way, I can change it. I can redirect my thinking. And you keep doing that through repetition until you reprogram your mind. So we have to really pay attention and understand that. What are the meanings that I'm giving things? If I'm sitting here observing things and I'm, like I said, being triggered, I feel like this means I'm never going to get what I want. I'm feeling real anxious, insecure, and worried, or I'm living in fear, because you're manifesting based off who you're being. And if who you're being says, I dominantly am this version of myself right now that is looking at this circumstance and says, bitch, you ain't getting it, right? That says, this is not happening for you. That says, oh my God, this is terrible. I can't believe this is happening to me, right? And again, we're human, so you're allowed to take notice, but then you need to understand, okay, if I dwell in this, what I'm taking notice of, do I want to manifest this? Ask yourself that question. And if you tell yourself no, well, then you got to train yourself to refocus and train yourself to move into a version of yourself that is having a different experience within her. So if you feel scared, if you feel anxious, if you feel fearful, then move yourself as best as you can through practice into through techniques, consciously, affirming and mental diet and changing your story and all of that, into a version of you that feels other than scared, feels other than fearful, right? So I would personally choose something like, I'm calm, it's okay, it's going to work out for me somehow, some way, right? Like that's been my go-to for years. I've been talking about that on the channel forever, because I feel really empowered when I say that, because I believe it in the sense of many different ways. But one is, I don't know how it's going to work out for me, right? So I already acknowledge that. I already know that and believe that, but I do know that it can, and I do know that it will. So then when I say that, I have more conviction behind it, and it soothes me quicker personally. That may not work for you, because you may not believe somehow, some way things are going to shift in your favor yet. But if you do, try it and see if that helps you. But it's just about getting you to be in a version of you that isn't allowing the 3D to fully hijack her and take over her and cause her to move into a version of herself that isn't in the wish fulfilled, right? The wish fulfilled version of you is the one who she's already gotten it. She's living her dream life. She feels safe and secure. She's not wondering where it is. She's not living in fear of losing it. And we're moving ourselves into that version over and over again so that we can create a reality that reflects that and we can receive what it is we actually want. Because when you're in a version of you who's in the reality she doesn't want, and you keep noticing it and you keep affirming and, trying to gaslight yourself by only affirming, while you're sitting here believing something else. And again, you will reprogram your mind after a while through repetition with the mental diet, because you need to learn how to master your mind. I mean, Neville said, once you learn that, you can lay down and rest any and all techniques, because it's the most powerful thing. But techniques are fun, and techniques can really help you emotionally shift. And there's conscious ones and there's subconscious ones, and you get to decide for yourself which ones feel good for me and pull them out your tool belt and start using them. So you are moving yourself into a version of you that maybe has a moment of peace, that maybe has a moment of clarity, that maybe is feeling secure and worthy and good enough. And she's not fucking all up in a ball of knots, feeling scared and insecure and, feeling in fear or living in fear, because then that's typically what you're going to continue manifesting, because that's dominant in you and that's what is pushing out. So it's really about alchemizing. It's really about transcending and transforming internally, your internal state, to practice a different version of you. If I had what I wanted, what would I be thinking right now? What would I be feeling? If I knew and trusted in the unseen, if I knew and trusted that somehow, some way this was going to work out for me, then what would be my attitude about this situation right now? What would be different about me? So you want to ask yourselves these questions and then see what comes up for you so you can move yourself in that version. You get to choose moment by moment who you want to be. And you want to practice her. You want to practice ascending into this version of you so that you're assuming the position. That's what law of assumption is. I'm assuming that this has already happened. Well, when you assume something, you are it. You've become it in a way, right? So it's understanding that. So the work is about transforming you. And obviously, you transform stories about outside of you too. But if your story of you in relation to the story of outside of you is like bumping heads, you want to get these lined up so that you can actually get what you want and fucking keep it, right? Because we've all done the bullshit where we manifest in with the low self-concept, the text, we've manifested in extra money, we've manifested in something, and then it just goes right back out, right? And part of this growth that you're going through is understanding these things and checking in with you. You measure through what's happening with you. You don't measure out here. Out here is just feedback. It's just letting you know what's happening to you inside, and a mirror to what may still be activated inside you, or what is just playing itself out because you pushed it out for so long before you reprogrammed it. That's all outside is. There's nothing else valuable about outside other than its feedback for you. The value and way you measure if you're doing good in this, if you're getting progress and moving forward, is understanding, well, what's happening in me, right? That's the power. So if you want to dive deep in this, I have some amazing things. I have my freebies below. I also have my 12-month journey if you are ready to ascend into your goddess status, baby, and have the best year of your fucking life. Details are below. And I also have the Money Glow Up Masterclass. If you're ready to transform and start manifesting in some money, it's super cheap. I made it cheap on purpose. Details are below. I love you and I'll see you. Bye.